the music genre.
Chad's assembled a mood board, a collage of rock and roll references for the drum and bass generation.
Do you do all of this? Rockstar Boyd here brought in a lot of his LPs here. The volume knobs on the amps, you know, cued into the cabs.
Record boxes,
Wristbands, shopping bags, gift sets.
stacks of records.
Everything relating back to music. Normally when you walk into Bloomingdale's department store, they have the piece of paper, they spray for you. Well, this one's their little ticket stub. But these pieces definitely go after a younger demographic.
The bottle itself is obviously inspired by an LP. And within the glass mold, we have the ridges in here. It's distorted, it's pulsing, it's vibrating, it's moving. And the cap itself, we played off of a lot of ideas off of the knobs, off of amps, guitars, all of that. And then the girls is just, you know, the bright magenta, which again is so signature for Tommy now in his jeans line. We designed a resin sleeve that the bottle actually slides into. Okay. A wink and a nod to a physical LP and how you take them in and out of the sleeves.
Get the consumer to actively participate, you know, in the packaging.
When you come out with a brand or a product that is so cool, the world attacks it. They all buy it, every single one of them.
And this one we're expecting great things.
Paris in midsummer. Jean-Paul Guerlain's promotional methods are rather more old school. The master perfumer entices journalists to the cool of his chateau. He wants to mention his new cologne, named after a hero of French literature, suave gentleman rogue Arsène Lupin.
This one is important because I'm 73, maybe it will be the last launching I'll do, I don't know.
What do you think of the big houses making mass market fragrances now?
I hate that.
You hate it?
Well, I don't like marketing, I hate it.
Isn't this marketing what you're doing today?
Well, it's not quite marketing I'm doing. It's not panel test and things like that.
Panel testing, or focus grouping, are standard tools in the perfume industry, but they're not for the likes of Guerlain. At least, not yet. Jean-Paul has chosen a successor. For 4 generations, the master perfumer has been a Guerlain. But when Jean-Paul's son decided not to be the 5th, he had to look outside the family. Thierry Vassar is the man who will be king. Right now, he's just a regent prince.
Maybe. Oh, there are a lot of girls, so I mean, you need at least 2 roosters in the coop today. Today it's his day, his special day.
Vassar's task will not be easy. He must keep Guerlain relevant to the 21st century while celebrating the glories of the 19th.
I am in a position which is absolutely unique because Jean-Paul has been taught by his grandfather. I have a direct link of somebody who created his first fragrance in the 19th century. People think it's a heavy burden not to be blood related, but when you have a lovable person like Jean-Paul Guerlain, the task is easy.
The ladies of the press, and it's always the ladies who get invited to the big house, depart for the helipad and Paris, ready to file their copy. few journalists are invited to the real inner sanctum. Every Wednesday, Thierry Vassa travels from Paris to meet Jean Paul at the Guerlain factory. The heir apparent has a constant reminder of the weight of family history next to his office. It's the lab of the greatest Guerlain of all, creator of Mitsuko, L'Heure Bleue and Chalimar. Grandpa Jacques.
This is the organ that has been used by Jacques Guerlain. They are what he used to play with. And Mr. Guerlain was coming here and was making his formula. Some of them traveled through the time pretty good. It's a cool place where I like to sit. Here he comes. Here the boss. Look through the shade, he's coming. He's a young man.
When he came to Guerlain, Thierry Vassa was a rising star. He could have gone anywhere, but Jean-Paul Guerlain offered something more than just a job.
I lost my father when I was a child, and as an adult, I have been always growing at the shade of a mature man. And I used to say that since I find a dad at almost 50, I got my childhood back. And it is, well, what I'm telling you is very personal actually, but to me, be back in a loving, respecting, admiring relationship is fascinating and make me young also. It's very weird, but it's nevertheless how I feel.
The relationship is good for Jean-Paul too. He still has a role. He still commands respect. The baton is being passed, but slowly.
Thierry, I like him very much, and he's very gifted, and I think he will do a very good job. And we get on very well together, and that's the most important thing.
In New York, Veronique Gabay-Pinsky and her team have laboured through the sweltering summer. They have a bottle prototype for the new Tommy Hilfiger scent. The next matter is the actual liquid, known in the trade as the juice. Veronique has brought together a two-man dream team.
We've asked two perfumers, very young. They've never been involved in the industry for the last 20 years because simply they're too young to have done that. They are part of that generation, and they're both very interested in music.
Hot but cool, Aurélien Guichard made Play for Comme des Garçons and Unforgivable for Sean John.
You have to be a bit naive and innocent to try things that people tell you it's not possible. And maybe you'll create the best fragrance of your life.
Jan Vasnier wrote the formula for Marc Jacobs' Lola. He and Guichard have just months to produce countless minute variations on a theme. So just how do you create rock and roll as a smell?
Patchouli, it was very much used in the past by hippies, and the rose is probably the most universal way to express femininity. We thought that was rock and roll for us. When we worked the rose with the patchouli, we thought that was rock and roll.
As their juice develops, the perfumers constantly compare it to the latest releases. Veronique writes 10 commandments for all her perfumes. Number 1, thou shalt smell fantastic.
First time that you access a fragrance, you're going to do it because of the idea, the advertising campaign, the bottle design. And then, you know, what's happening is that the second time, the third time, the fourth time, and hopefully the 10th time you're going to buy the bottle is because of what's inside. Quite frankly, a fragrance cannot exist if you don't have the amazing quality in the bottle.
There are still several versions of the scent. Wendy Patel monitors the market for Veronique's team, watching for shifts in the public's tastes.
Maybe we could try to bring the patchouli up just a little bit more, just so that you kind of get it more so with the rose.
Patchouli, a soft-leaved relative of mint from Southeast Asia, is the summer's must-have ingredient.
Kind of like gives it like a sexiness. It's, you know, it's
Okay.
like we're fun, we're fruity, we're juicy, but it could just have a thread of that a little bit more, so.
The process involves infinite, minute changes to the formulation, getting them assessed, going back to the lab. The clock is ticking. The juice has to be ready for the pre-Christmas publicity drive. The stakes are high. Hilfiger is famed for 2 big sellers, both well respected by the perfume trade. Loud has a lot to live up to. Manhattan is in the midst of a heat wave when the day arrives for the client to smell what Veronique and her team hope will be the winning formula.
It's a big day because we're meeting Tommy. This is the juice, this is the soul and the core and the DNA of the project. So really we're at the very end of the process.
Tommy Hilfiger arrives 15 minutes late and is due somewhere else in half an hour.
Good to see you again. Ben, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. Good to see you.
So you want to sit down and go?
Should we sit over
let's
here?
go. Yeah. Because we didn't want to go through traditional market research for this project. We wanted to keep the creative process very creative. Really, the juices have been universally appreciated, and in a way that's very interesting for us because it's not like I like it. It was immediately I love it. What is it? I want it. So it's interesting.
Is this the way the bottle is going to look?
Yeah.
Because when it's filled with fluid, it's going to look a bit different.
And these are still models,
Yeah.
they're not production.
This is plastic still. It's not.
Still acrylic. It's that fine balance of it pulsing but legibility, you know?
What does it really say? I mean, you know what it says. We all know what it says, but what does it really say? And if it's OU,
Yeah.
it's not going to resonate and connect back to the
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah. Yeah.
people
We'll make
will-
sure it's there. I think that we can achieve that.
So your eye will get into the L and the D more so.
And the box turned out to be really cool. So it really gives you the feeling of like a real
CD case?
and what we'll have a side here that will open, flip out, so the consumer can slide